Hello everyone, today we are taking a look at the Avatar Mini 1S kit. Yeah, this is the new one, if I can get that to focus on my face there. You'll notice that it already has the wires soldered on, and there's also some glue on the connector here for the camera lead, as well as the camera does not have much of a housing or case. No screws to use in our canopy for mounting this camera, or at least it doesn't come in the kit. The new 1S that's lighter does have the same specs, 350 milliwatt transmission. It has the same voltage range, 3.1 to 5 volts. It has the same boasted latency, which, I don't have a way of testing that out. Basically all the specs that you found on the original, including the onboard 8 gigabytes of storage. Same here. This one's just lighter, and they took some of the camera housing off. As a refresher, the original Avata Mini 1S kit came in at 10.5 grams on my scale. And I did include the wiring because we're going to need some length of that. I actually pulled this out of a working quad. And the new Mini Lite is 7.88 grams on my scale, so saved about 3 grams. That's pretty substantial in the micro world. The camera with the new housing, or the lack thereof, comes in under 2 grams at 1.84 grams. The camera that came with the original 1F board, so if you wanted to just transition, maybe figure out what your weight savings would be from the original board with the original camera. The original camera with the backing and the screws comes in at 2.75 grams. And because the backing and screws aren't critical, or you might opt to just try to save a little bit of weight without those. If you take those off, you save less than a quarter of a gram. Looks like 2.35, or that's a little bit more than a quarter gram, excuse me. And as a reference, I dug up a picture that I took of the HD0 1S board with the new V2 Nano Lite camera. This does include that ORT antenna, which does come in at about 0.4 grams, and the total weight obviously there on the scale at 7.38 grams. But this does not include the cabling that comes between the camera and the Whoop Lite board. I would estimate that that probably offsets our antenna weight at 0.4 grams because that is a very short 20 millimeter length. At the time that I made that video and I took that picture, I didn't have that cable. I only had the long one. Here's a side-by-side, or should I say a top and bottom, or a comparison view of the two different boards. Do not remove the heatsink from this, because when I noticed this came without a heatsink, I asked Caddx about, well, how much can we save if we just pop it off this one? They said if you pop it off this one, that voids your warranty and it will burn. Will it actually burn or not? I don't know. But if you value the warranty of the board at all, don't remove it. But I wanted to give you a kind of their layout look, because they did change some things. It's not just about making a slimmer PCB or a smaller board altogether. They changed a few things outside of course, the heatsink that I just highlighted there. You can see where some of the components have moved around on the board. Obviously, our button has shifted in position, and the connector here on the other side is obviously quite a bit smaller. Of course, we don't even have the connector on this board, but they just put the wires right to it, which I think is fine and dandy for me, at least. That's all I need is some pads to wire to. It does come with this wiring already soldered to the board, and it does come with that little black adhesive over the top already. And they have this little print that kind of highlights the fact that, red is your voltage, and that is 3.1 to 5 volts. Black is your ground, and then you've got your RX is white, which would go to TX, and your TX is gray, which goes to RX. Still supports the Betaflight OSD, as well as I think iNav and all the other OSDs that the original board supported as well. As I already said, it still has the 8 gigabytes of onboard storage, still has the 1080p recording on that board. Still is 350 milliwatt transmission. The mounting is the same at 25.5 millimeters. Corner to corner all the way around, so your mounting hasn't changed. It's just the board is a little bit thinner and it's a little bit smaller. Actually, it doesn't look thinner. I'm going to put my calipers to that. It doesn't look thinner at all to me. All right, this is the new board at 1.4 millimeters. Look at that, the old board's thinner. It's just a touch over 1 millimeters. This is crazy. Well, now I'm getting 1.3 millimeters. Depends on which corner I go to here. Now it's back down to 1.6, 1.7. Okay. I'm now satisfied. I've measured it at all 4 corners, and I've gotten either 1.16 or 1.17. So the original board seems to be thinner. How can that be? Surely the new board would have been thinner. Maybe I'm catching that metal ring. No, 1.38 there. 1.4, that's within the margin of error, I guess, there. Let's not go right over the ring. Let's go over this little edge. Oh, 1.39. So the new board is actually thicker, but maybe that's good, especially for whoops and crashing. A little bit thicker board. The traces aren't as likely to get broken or parts shift around or any sort of robustness we can get from having a slightly thicker board, but that surprised me. The new 1S kit does come with our USB cable that we need to update firmware or actually to move files to and from this thing, as well as some soft mounting, some extra long screws, which is great for whoops. I know many people have asked me about the screw sizes and where to pick those up. These have nice big fat heads on them, and it does come with an antenna. I didn't weigh that because when it comes to actually weight savings, these antennas, while they're not necessarily heavy, we can make some hay with some lighter antennas. Tiny Whoop has got their small antenna that I think comes in at under half a gram. These are usually a touch over a half a gram, depends upon the construction. We've also got the ORT antennas, which usually come in around 0.45 grams as well. The one thing I do wish was included in the kit is some way of mounting something to this camera that would give us screw holes in the side so that we can put them into canopies like this, so that we can use a traditional screw mount canopy. A small screw would be fine, and we've seen that with the Runcam Nano 3 camera, which is the analog camera that we've seen in a lot of different Whoop builds and ultralight micro builds. So I think it won't be long before many of you probably develop your own little mount to where you screw it in with these little holes, you screw your mount in, and then it comes around the side. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find one of those Runcam ones and see if it fits on here. Yep, it fits right on. I even put those two same screws that the little camera comes with, and now we have side hole mounting. So if you want to make your own with 3D engineering and printing, you can just follow the Runcam suit, or you may have some, like I do, of these just in bins that you can use when you get your, if you choose to, your Avata Mini 1S Lite kit or VTX and camera, that you know that you can just use that mount if you need to. So in this moment in time, I don't have any flight footage for you just yet. My weather outside has been terrible crummy, and I wanted to go through all the different looky-loo specs before I put it into a quad, and then I have to pull it back out of the quad, you know, and do all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was best to do a sort of intro video. For those of you that ordered the VRX kit from Caddx for the walk snail system, and you chose to have this board, I am told that the 1S board that we'll be shipping with those VRXs is this board. So that's a happy bonus because that's what I selected when I made my pre-order. By the way, if you're interested, while the pre-order is over, I will link down in the video description below the VRX kit, which I think is a good value if you've already got analog goggles and you're wanting to move into the walk snail system. My HD0 goggles are not here yet, so probably won't see those for at least a week after I get them. But it's nice to see another company working on a digital system, and they're trying to make it micro-centric, because you know that warms my heart, because when it comes to micros, more options is better. So if you want to fly walk snail or analog or HD0 or whatever system you want with your micro, we've got more options out there. I don't think this is going to be available to purchase until that VRX is shipping. So if it happens to become available, I will add links down in the video description at that time. But probably as you're watching this initial video, not available. I'll include a link to the video I'm going to be making probably in about a week, because I'll need the weather to clear up. It's still raining outside and cold. And I'll do some outside flight footage, and I'll include the DVR from the goggles rather than the DVR from the VTX, but I will include footage to the VTX that you can then see as well. Something else when it comes to viewing this HD footage, and this is more of a preparation, you know, generally in YouTube. YouTube does some weird things when it comes to its own compression, and depending upon the channel size and the number of views a channel gets, if you right click in your viewing window as the video is playing and you go down to the bottom of that little menu that comes up, it'll have stats for nerds, and that's where you can see the different codec and some of the stats that YouTube has encoded the video with. So from what creators do, and we render here on our computers and then upload, we're kind of handcuffed by YouTube and what YouTube decides to do. And unfortunately, when you're a small creator and you don't have many views, I'm fortunate that I've gotten to the point where I don't necessarily fall into this category that much, but they downgrade your video. Also your machine and its playback capability. So if you're wanting to watch in 2K or 4K, It might not look like 2K or 4K if your viewing device isn't quite up to handling that amount of data and moving images. I've talked to many people about these sorts of things, and I thought I should include it here. And I'll probably, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you asked that sort of question, and I said watch the end of this video. But I'm excited. We have another micro option. We have some more grams that have come off the top of the Walk Snail or the Avatar Mini 1S Lite kit. That, as I said earlier, warms my heart because it makes building micros get us closer down to that golden age of analog weight so we can rip and have the sort of fun and long flight times that we enjoy. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise about the Avatar Mini 1S kit, VRX camera system, please let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.